What is the People Advocating Cannabis Education Radio Network? It's a network of people advocating cannabis education.
The views expressed by the individuals during this broadcast are their own opinions, and they may not be the same as those of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
What's the matter with that cat there? What people are Reefer? The Reefer? Yeah, man. Mean that cat's high? Feeling light.
We now wander off the beaten path with an update from the Reefer Reporter.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Reefer Reporters. It is Thursday. What is today? Today is March the 11th already in 2021, and we are live here from the Legacy420.com news desk. Joined by my, for bringing you your Global Reefer Report, joined by my joint host, Miss Cindy Howell. How's it going?
Hi.
Cindy?
How you doing, Kim?
I'm doing all right. Good. Hanging in. We're on the new platform. We're on the new platform here, StreamYard. We did the Reefer Report via StreamYard last week, but we did it as a pre-recorded podcast. This week, we are doing it live.
Yay, us. Jumping in the deep end already.
Yeah, live. So, I mean, all our blips and bloops will of course, be caught up here. But we're gonna do our best to muddle through and get some stuff done. We've got a few stories on tap today coming at us in the cannabis world, and of course we've got to shine a spotlight on the females in the industry, given that it was International Women's Day and International Women's Month is happening. So we're going to cover some stories on that. And our first one's from the Growth Up.
Yeah, absolutely. Celebrating those who break the grass ceiling. Now, I had to read this twice to say grass ceiling to myself.
Yeah.
Female-led businesses advance self-managed supply chain and amp up bedroom-friendly THC products. So what better way to celebrate women in the International Women's Day than highlight some of the truly innovative ways female-led cannabis companies are pushing the envelope. And if that's not enough, there's also the Patient Focus line recently launched at Shoppers and Jay-Z's Challenge to challenge outdated weed laws. So it's pretty exciting. We have a female-led Toronto company builds self-managed supply chain. And Diane Scott is the chair and CEO of the JMCC group. It's pretty really exciting cool to watch the women. Yeah,
absolutely. Very cool stuff. And of course, Canada's only female-led and privately owned medical cannabis company. And they're looking forward to offering patients more control over quality, safety and security, thanks to its new partnership with Green Island Growers Limited.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. I mean, if you build it, they will come. They seems to have been, part of their thinking for the Toronto-based JMCC group. It's constructing state-of-the-art distribution centers on Chanel Island of Jersey, which is located between England and France too, right? So way over there.
Yeah. It's up in the European Union there. There's a lot of little islands that I didn't even know existed in that space. Jersey is one of them as well, that we've had a connection with that. So GMCC, European Distribution Limited, is a joint venture between JMCC, which is the Canadian corporation, and they serve as the majority owner. Interesting stuff going on there. And then come April, the company expects to begin supplying medicinal cannabis to patients registered in the UK as well through Project 21.
Yeah, that's really exciting. And they'll be the only Canadian company and exclusive supplier from the Caribbean region. So it's really exciting to watch the women grow in the grass-fed business. Montreal Business shows women some love with the bedroom-friendly products. High on Love has entered the THC space through its recent teaming with Rose Life Science to launch what is believed to be the first female-focused line of cannabis products in Canada. So, yeah, we've got more and more coming up for the women.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, High on Love, a great line of products, catering to women's needs. And I mean, why shouldn't cannabis be incorporated into the products that we use for personal care as well as in the bedroom? Lubricants and that kind of thing being infused are showing beneficial results. So, I mean, let's get the expansion happening. Let's get women in this industry clamoring to the fields to release all of these marvelous new products that are out there.
Yeah, it's and it's not just like you said in the bedroom. It's also in the bathroom too, like products, hair, shampoo, conditioner, hair products, face products, skin products. Women use these things every day, and if we can infuse them, they become a better product.
Yeah. And I mean, that's not the only female entrepreneurial story that's in the news today for International Women's Month. Marijuana Business Daily has our next one coming at us. Women's History Month, a Q&A with marijuana industry pioneer Greta Carter.
Yeah, this was a really fun read. Everything I dreamt and hoped to have accomplished in this industry has come to fruition, and I am truly living the dream, says Greta, which is just really exciting to read as the first line. And that's how marijuana industry pioneer Greta Carter began a conversation with the Marijuana Business Daily for an interview to mark March's Women's History Month, as well as International Women's Day, which was this past Monday. And she gave a great interview.
Yeah, it looks like she did. There was a large segment of Q&A. We're not going to read the entire thing. It's quite a lengthy article. Carter began her career in banking and construction. She pivoted to cannabis industry in 2008 and wound up becoming a trailblazer by founding plant-touching companies in Washington State, then Nevada and California.
Yeah, and she's currently focused on the California-based consulting firms, High Rolled Consulting Group and Global Company. And the second one there has a footprint that spans 8 states and 10 countries. So she's growing internationally.
International. I mean, women are blazing a trail through the industry. It's sad that it's not being reflected in, I guess, sort of the flagship of countries to do this, which is Canada. We don't have any females in our boardroom. I mean, the numbers are limited. We had 48 North, which was the only female-owned LP that we had in this country, and then that was bought out by a company filled with males. So that went out the window as well. So I mean, we need to see this diversity and expansion in diversity with the female sect here in Canada for sure.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
hopefully she'll inspire women that are in the cannabis industry here to step up and follow in her footsteps.
Absolutely. Let's skip down pretty much to the bottom, and as one of the lines in here is, what kind of tips or advice would you offer any young female entrepreneur wanting to get started in the cannabis business? And she says, you don't have to have knowledge of the industry. You need to learn it. And there's a lot of schools and educational things and online places that you can go for that. You can teach yourself that, and maybe you can humble yourself to say, I'll be a bud tender or I'll work in a grow. So I understand the dynamics of that. And do that for a year before you go out and venture into your own entrepreneurial world. And I love that because, so many see the dollar signs of cannabis. They know nothing about cannabis and they want to just dive in. And it's like, oh, I'm going to invest my money here and I'm going to do this, but I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just going to wing it. Cannabis is an animal of a different color. It doesn't work that way, the way it does in other big business ventures.
No, I've had this debate with many of investors, and years ago, 2 years ago, and of course when all became legal, a lot of them wanted to jump in because they saw a new business venture, and that they didn't see what it was; they just saw a new business venture.
Right.
And I had the debate with them many a times that cannabis is not like any other industry you've ever invested in, so beware. You
Yeah,
know, we're not all about the dollar signs here.
that's right.
And they didn't believe me, and they lost their shirts.
Yeah, and
Yep.
that's pretty much what happens, right? We've seen it time and time again, where stuff like this goes on in the cannabis industry, where people dive in head first, no clue what they are doing, and it doesn't work out well.
Yeah. So I'm with you. I love the way that she tells people that go work in the industry for a while and learn the industry, and then you'll be, better equipped to invest and help it grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Which brings us to our next story from Marijuana Business Daily and how the rollout is going here in good old Ontario area where I am. Ontario Cannabis Store CEO says more stores are needed in underserved markets here in our province.
Yeah. You guys have the largest province there. Like, I mean, it's huge. The amount of people you have, our capital city. You have one of our biggest cities being Toronto. So the chief executive officer of the OCS said growing regulated recreational cannabis sales in Canada's most populous province depends on more brick and mortar stores. They are finding that 88% of recreational cannabis purchases are actually in store.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. People don't want to use the online model. We've been forced into it in many ways, even in the grassroots community, because of the pandemic. But and a lot of our beloved events have been canceled. So where we go to normally purchase, we're not able to do that. But other than the pandemic, people don't want to buy online.
No, personally, I like to know the product before I purchase it. I mean, I want to be able to go somewhere. I want to be able to see it and smell it and have an idea of what it's going to be like for me before I actually put my money on the table.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah.
want to touch it, you want to see it, you want to smell it. And even having a store, the way that they've got it set up in the legal system here in Canada, going into the store, you still can't even do that. So
We have in all the stores we have here in Nova Scotia, we have one that you can walk into and it's purely cannabis. Like there's that's all it is. It's not part of a liquor store. And they actually have probably about, I would say, a tenth of the variety set out in see and smell containers. But they've been there for months. So you're
yeah,
not really getting much
it's
that
not
way.
see and smell what you're buying, that's for sure.
Yeah.
What's in those containers is completely different product. So that they go on and they say, even with the restrictions on in-person shopping, customers choose physical stores 88% of the time. It's clear that expanding physical access is in unserved or underserved communities is key to continued growth over the long term. The OCS is the sole wholesaler to Ontario's growing number of licensed recreational stores, but also competes against those stores in online cannabis retailers. So, online cannabis retailers are free to sell online if they already have a license to sell anywhere in the country. But brick and mortar are operated by the province, so they want to maintain their share of the market.
Absolutely. In Ontario, I mean, 1/3 of the stores in Ontario are within Toronto.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So they've really concentrated on the capital city of the province, and with 2/3 of it going to the rest of the province, and you have a very large province, so that's not really a lot of stores going to the
It's
rest
not.
of your province.
It's not. Me in Northern Ontario, the underserved portions of the province are anything north of berry, pretty much. There, and which is the midway point to mid-central Ontario. Midway through central Ontario, you're done if you go north of there, and that's where the majority of the rest of the province exists. But everybody's crammed into southern Ontario. So southern Ontario, they're rocking it. They're doing all right. They got lots of stores. You
Yep.
come into northern Ontario, central Ontario, that's where it starts getting more and more sparse the further north you go. Here I am in northern Ontario. We got our first brick and mortar store that was the closest to me was opened up about a year after legalization. The first store opened up 3 hours away. 6 months after that one opened up, that's an hour and a half away, and that's still to this moment in time the closest.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy. I thought it was bad here. Like I live in a tiny little Windsor, Nova Scotia, so I have to travel 45 minutes away to get to an actual store that will sell cannabis. They don't have anything within my county at all.
Yeah. Now we've got notices up in a couple of the small towns in and around the town that I live in, and we got a notice put up right in the town that we live in a couple of weeks ago. There are stores coming, but I mean we're 2+ years into legalization.
Yeah, and they go on to say that here in this story as well. They go down, as of March 8th, 490 regulated cannabis stores were listed as authorized to open by the AGCO, but we're still waiting.
Yeah. So I mean, it's moving along. Well, yeah, slowly.
Slowly. And I hear a lot of our listeners going, but do you really want those legal stores? Like, I mean, whether or not you personally you buy in them or not, yes, I want them because they help to get rid of stigma.
That's right.
Absolutely. So yeah, I want them all over the place, everywhere.
Yeah, it makes cannabis common.
Yep.
And people start not batting an eye when they walk past a store, and that garners acceptance and puts the blanket on the demonization of this plant. So yes, we do want stores, absolutely. Even if I don't, even if I choose not to partake in those stores, I still want them.
Yep.
100%. Next story is coming to us from the Growth Op. Past or current cannabis use not associated with greater chance of hypertension, according to a study considered almost 27,000 people who consumed weed had no hypertension at baseline.
Yeah, this exciting news. So this study exploring the longitudinal relationship between using cannabis and having hypertension or high blood pressure shows that cannabis is actually associated with lower blood pressure.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. And it's funny because I've consumed cannabis now for almost 5 decades. And I have always been told I have very low blood pressure.
Same here. Not 5 decades for me, but 3 decades. And I've always been told my blood pressure is a worry because it is lower than normal.
It's lower. Yeah, I never, even when I'm angry and my blood pressure goes high, it's just barely above normal now. But that's high for me. But I mean, that's good or bad. It can have both connotations. Of course, extremely low blood pressure is just as bad as extremely high blood pressure. So we don't want it to go too low. But if you are somebody that, is prone to high blood pressure, this could level you off. So this is great news. To get a better handle on what the cannabis hypertension relationship looks like, an international research team, including investigators from McMaster University and Hamilton, Ontario, of which I'm a graduate, carried out a 3-year follow-up on large population-based sample out of the U.S.
Really exciting. Yeah, they examined the self-reported data from 2 waves of the National Epidemiologic Survey of Alcohol and Related Conditions, resulting in just under 27,000 participants. So they did not report the hypertension at baseline when using cannabis. So using the sample, investigators conducted analysis to quantify the relationship between lifetime cannabis use, which is 12-month cannabis use, and 12-month cannabis use frequency. So they want people that have been using it longer than just like a few months.
Yeah, not newbies.
They followed long-term cannabis use on hypertension.
Yeah, and I mean the results are conclusive, really. Cannabis defined as monthly use were not associated with incidences of hypertension. So, I mean, those people that consumed cannabis had stable or lower blood pressure than the average population.
Yeah, and I do want to mention that when I was skimming through this article, they do say that this age is still a factor. So they want you to know that as you get older, you still can be prone to hypertension, even if using cannabis. But they've noticed that overall, it does hold it down.
It does hold it down. And excellent article. Definitely look it up on the Growth Up and check out more. I mean, cannabis popping up as a remedy for hypertension. That could have made huge connotations in the future medical applications for sure.
Absolutely. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Our next story is coming to us from Foley and Larder. It's an LLP. Cannabis, a potential revenue boon for professional sports leagues.
I find this one really exciting too. So in January, the UFC announced a major modification to its anti-doping policy. A positive test for the psychoactive ingredient in cannabis, which is THC, is now no longer constitutes a violation unless they believe they're using it to enhance their abilities during a fight. Similarly, prior to the 2021 season, the NBA declared that its random testing policy for cannabis would remain suspended, as it was for the conclusion of the previous season in the bubble that they had at Walt Disney World, for the NBA. I think it's really exciting that we've got the UFC and the NBA, two very large, athletic corporations that are standing up and saying, listen, we don't need to test for this anymore because it's not a bad thing.
That's right. That's right. Ongoing legalization of cannabis. Of course, the progressing legalization of cannabis across the country is likely the main driver of the shifting standards in the sports world. 15 states have legalized recreational cannabis. 36 have permitted medical cannabis of one sort or another, and additional states have considered legalization plans that could commence later on this year. Back in 2020, the House of Representatives passed legislation for the first time ever that would legalize cannabis at a federal level and expunge some cannabis-related criminal records under the MORE Act. So it's unclear still whether or not the MORE Act will make it through the Senate, but it's on the table and things are moving forward, and the Biden administration seems favorable.
Yeah, I'm really excited for our neighbors to the south of us. The legal treatment of cannabis in professional sports, other professional sports leagues, in addition to the UFC and the NBA, have adapted their policies on cannabis as the wider legalization efforts have progressed. An example is the NFL, their current collective bargaining agreement, which is being ratified in March of 2020. They're looking at changing some stuff too. And the MLB, for its part, no longer classifies cannabis as a drug of abuse. And I think this is fantastic for athletes that want to use it to help themselves heal after an injury.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of the athletes are using CBD, but most of the CBD preparations that are actually legitimate and work do contain low levels of THC. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, when they're using these products, they're risking testing positive and, coming up with, punishments from their leagues. So it's about time that this kind of thing was addressed. I mean, these players deserve to be able to treat themselves medicinally with a natural medication that is actually working for them and not causing, chronic addictions and, after effects and side effects that are happening with all of these other, heavy narcotics and pharmaceuticals that are being shoved down their throats because of their injuries.
Yeah, and potentially ruining their careers, not because of the injuries, but because of the drugs they've been put on.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And I mean, we see that happen throughout, pick your sport. And that's what it is. I mean, they're shoving these harsh pharmaceuticals down these kids' throats and these people's throats. And it's like they have no life. So, 10 years in your sport, and then you're kicked to the curb with an addiction that destroys the remainder of your life.
Or you can be like Conor McGregor and, everybody's like got their jaw hit the floor because the man should have retired years ago, but he openly uses CBD to help himself heal. And here he is still fit and fighting.
Absolutely. My son's hero, by the way. It's funny you mentioned Conor McGregor. That's my son. Oh, yeah. My son gets right excited. You start talking about Conor McGregor.
But I mean, he's a large face in legalization for cannabis as a medicine for athletes, and he openly uses it. Like, and I think I understand for different reasons he's a hero of mine too. So I understand your son's love of him.
Yes, yeah. I mean, and we're seeing it more and more in professional sports, um, but mainly with those who are retired. They're standing up saying, "Oh, well, yep, I've been using it for years and I just didn't tell anybody and I hid it and now I can talk about it." We need the ones that are still playing to stand up as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And time zipped right on by, and I just realized we're already at commercial break time, Cindy.
Oh, wow.
It's medication time. It's medication time, which is mean we're going to hear from our sponsors, and then Cindy and I will be right back after the break. Just before we go into the sponsor announcements today, we are going to hear about a great contest going on here at the network. So we are going to have a listen to a word from joint host Craig McEachern about an opportunity to win a nutrients pack for your grow. And you, of course, are listening to the Reefer Reporters live here at paceradio.net. And I can't believe what I was just about to say there. That was a really big oops. I'm trying to get stall because I need to get the screen open that plays that plays our commercials and just pray that they actually play without too many glitches today. So we're going to give it a shot here on the Reefer Reporters live on StreamYard. Yep, live on StreamYard here at paceradio.net.
Hey, growers and grow shops, do you want a 20% increase in yield from your cannabis grow? Then you need Calexa Nutrients for bigger, better buds. Grow Micro Bloom is a 3-part premium-based nutrient trio specifically formulated to give you bigger, better buds. Win your own sample kit by heading to CalexaNutrients.com and contact us with your name, email, and catchphrase. We will pick one random name on the Pace Radio Facebook page. So remember, check out Calexa Essential Nutrients for bigger, better buds at CalexaNutrients.com.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net. At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
The People's Alliance of Cannabis in Canada is an organization working to improve cannabis legalization in Canada. They have a mission and values that includes all Canadians, no matter where they come from. The values are including everyone, as no one should be excluded from participating, equality, diversity, advocacy, along with cannabis education and research, plus industry, safety, and professional standards. If this is an organization that has the same values as you, check them out at peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Once again, peoplesallianceofcannabisincanada.ca. Check them out.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more. We've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or a commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
CP operates medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family-owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponic system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at Pace Radio.
We're back. And we are back from our medication session here at paceradio.net. And I know I haven't muted my other mic, so I'm probably like hacking in Cindy's other ear at the moment, driving her insane. And yeah, I got another thing playing in my ear, all kinds of stuff going on.
I took the other earbud out of my ear, so you're only in one ear for me right now.
Oh, that's good because I can't find it on my phone. I have too many things. I have 2 computers and a phone going here to make this podcast happen. So yeah, it's a lot to deal with and to do the commentary and let everybody know what's going on. And yeah, but we're learning, we're winging it. We're back and we've got 5 more stories to bring to you this afternoon or this morning. It's not even afternoon yet. I feel like it should be afternoon already. And it's not. It's still morning. Yeah, let's get back to the news so I can I can sound like I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
We're going to go
Sounds
to a
good.
story from High Times. Oldest Black-owned dispensary, Purple Heart Patient Center, is trying to reopen their doors.
Yeah, Keith Stevenson, who is the founder of the Purple Heart Patient Center, discusses the long and arduous process of trying to reopen. The Purple Heart Center has been closed since criminals used the cover of protest to break in to Oakland's cannabis industry, the oldest place into Oakland's cannabis industry last summer, and Keith Stevenson talks about the road to getting the facility back opened.
Yeah,
Last
this was
summer,
those riots that they had last year, and they destroyed the city. I mean, they broke into all kinds of stores, and wreaked all kinds of havoc. And of course, the cannabis stores, well, they've got no recourse. I mean, they're last on the list for getting any help to fix the damage that was done.
yeah, and he's had quite a fight to get it done. But like, I mean, he's doing it, and he has this interview as the drills buzzed behind them, which is really good news. And at one point in time, he didn't even have a contact with the adjuster. There was 3 weeks that he had nobody to talk to.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. 3 weeks. It's he didn't have contact. He called it good cop, bad cop. For a communication system. I mean, they gave this guy the runaround. They don't want to pay out all of the damage to the facility. They don't want to pay the business interruption claim, which is interesting, Steven said, because the insurance company's argument on not paying out the millions in lost revenue is that the Purple Heart has been temporarily closed at the time of the break-in, when Stevenson worked to get the facility up for COVID standards with sneeze guards and industrial fog sterilization facilities. So he was preparing for COVID, and they were temporarily shut down to prepare for COVID. And the insurance company is using that as the reason to not pay them out damages.
Oh, it's infuriating. I mean, every business had to go through a shutdown period where they, they installed all the stuff. I mean, some people were able to get it done in a day. Some people needed a week. And to hold that against him, that he's trying to, hey, you're trying to follow laws, so we're going to penalize you.
That's right. Insurance companies, right? They're great at taking that premium every month, but file a claim and watch the mice scramble. That's usually the way that shit goes. I mean, this poor guy has argued with the insurance company's line of reasoning. What would have happened if a business had burned down? Like, would you be paying out then? They paid for the inventory, so the insurer has chosen to pick and choose what parts of the claim they want to pay. Obviously, the business interruption was the largest part, so they're trying to deny that, and that's impeding him from opening because he doesn't have the money to do all of the repairs, get the stock back in, get the staff hired, and do everything that's required to do to get this place back up to standards with the doors open.
Yeah, and I mean, and meanwhile, patients are suffering. Like, I mean, like we talk about everything that's being done to him, but what about the people he helps? Like, I mean, these people are sitting there going, hello. So they're being ignored too. I mean, the company, the insurance company, doesn't realize the outstretch of what they're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's huge. There's a picture of the guy here in the article, sitting in front of the painted wall sign with Purple Heart in it. And even though he has a mask on, you can see the pain and the disheartenment in his eyes. It's truly a terrible situation that the insurance companies have put him in.
Yeah. It's sad. It's almost like missing the gold rush, Stevenson says. It's like 1849 and your wagon broke down in the middle of the cold somewhere in California. And by the time you got here, they were excavating with mechanical tools as opposed to manual labor.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a changing industry down there. Things are happening quickly. And, he was in on the ground level, and he was doing this prior to the gold rush, and helping patients. And then everybody else got on board of the gold rush. He winds up in hot water because of something that is totally out of his control, and now the insurance company is refusing to help him. It's or putting up roadblocks into helping him. So I mean, it's definitely a sad situation for them in Oakland, and he's not the only one that's going through this down there. That went through all of this turmoil down there.
Yeah, it's happening all over the place.
It is.
And not just in the cannabis industry, but in all industries. The pandemic has thrown a monkey wrench into everything.
It really, really has. We're going to go to our next story from the Ganjapreneur.
The Ganjapreneur, Alaska cannabis cultivator charged for alleged illegal pesticide use.
Illegal pesticide use. I had a shot momentarily on a wonderful plant at the forefront of this story with a beautiful little ladybug sitting on the plant. And, reading that headline, it's like, well, why aren't you just have more ladybugs? Because there's your perfect pesticide right there. Alaska, illegal pesticide. We've seen this happen in Canada too. It's not a new thing, and many of the legal corporate producers are getting nailed thanks to testing that is going on. Alaska officials are charging 2 cannabis business owners misdemeanors for allegedly spraying illegal pesticides on cannabis plants. Anchorage Daily News reports the owners, Ron and Lacey Bass, were charged by the state environmental crimes prosecutor with pesticide pollution, misuse of pesticides, and reckless endangerment. Additionally, charging documents show a felony for falsifying records will likely follow the preliminary charges.
Yeah, so even though they're only hitting them with a misdemeanor now, they're gathering evidence to hit them with a felony as time goes on.
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, how can reckless endangerment? How can that be a misdemeanor?
Misdemeanor, right? Yeah, I don't understand it. The couple, who are owners of a licensed cultivator, Calm and Collective LLC, and the retailer Houston Grass Station, said that the pesticides were sprayed by a quote-unquote disgruntled employee in 2019, who then reported the spraying to authorities. So they're totally denying everything. It wasn't us. We just have a really upset person.
It's always a disgruntled employee, right? It's always a disgruntled until it's like it's the disgruntled employee is the one that was the whistleblower.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, I don't think so, dude.
No, we've been hearing this from so many companies for so many years that
come on.
At least if you're going to lie, show us a little bit of forethought and put some, spin on that, right?
Yeah, let's get some creativity happening here, people, in your thought patterns. I mean, that line is stale and old. The couple's attorney, Cindy Franklin, who oversaw Alaska's adult use rollout as the head of the Alcohol and Marijuana Control Office, but now works as an attorney for the industry, said this is the first time the state has filed criminal charges against a cannabis business.
Yeah, and I'm really glad that they did. State documents reveal the credit card, the Basses, the couple's credit card and email were used to buy the pesticides. But it was a disgruntled employee, right? Surveillance footage showed employees, so we don't know who, because they're in full suits and respirator masks. It could have been them. It could have been employees. We can't see through that. So unidentified employees said that the couple told them to spray the plants because they were infected with mold and fungus.
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah. They're trying to get rid of that, and they're trying to save a crop that was not savable by appropriate means. I mean, the thing is, these pesticides, people consume that. You're poisoning people.
Yep. Yeah, and it's gross. They use 3 pesticides, not just one banned
Oh.
3 pesticides that they, and I'm not going to get in, you can read what they are in the article, but 3 of them, not just 1, 3.
Yeah, and the one that I will state is myclobutanil. And the reason I'm stating that is because that is the one that was used here in Canada by Metrum Corporation. Myclobutanil, when is translated through heat process, because cannabis is consumed through inhalation, we burn it. As soon as you add heat to that, it turns to cyanide.
Yeah. It's
You're smoking cyanide now because you've added heat.
yeah. And I think that's just gross, because I'm one of the patients that was affected by Metrum. I'm part of the whole thing that's going on, and every time I hear it, my skin crawls. Like that's what I inhaled. Like me, I'm one of the people that got that. It's gross.
Yeah, I mean, Alaska's really got to pick up the ball here. This next paragraph really says it all. While cannabis producers in Alaska are required to test for potency and for some molds, the state still lacks mandatory pesticide testing for cannabis products. However, growers must report any pesticides they use to the state regulators. So it's,
It's
we're
an honor
trusting
system.
you. It's the honor system. They're using the honor, and that's not going to work, people. Documents say Common Collective did not properly list the pesticides on their labels or report the additives to the Marijuana Enforcement Tracking and Reporting and Compliance Database, only disclosing the use of 2 organic fertilizers in their documentation. So when it was brought to light by the whistleblower, they went and had a look, only to see, hey, did you break the honor system rule? Hey, yeah, we're going to test it to see if you did. And lo and behold, you did. But if a whistleblower didn't do this, then the state would never know, because they're not testing. So how many other people are using banned products that the state isn't testing for? Are you putting out poisonous products?
Yeah.
At a state level?
Yeah, they should step up and be taking a look at all of their producers. Like, I mean, you don't want people inhaling this. I mean, we're trying to get better, not worse.
Yeah. I mean, there's too many inconsistencies for this people's stories to wash. That this was a disgruntled employee. There's no way that that's what it was. So yeah, I mean, that's a total bust as far as I'm concerned. And felony charges are taking place next. So we'll be keeping. That's one of the ones that we'll be keeping an eye on for sure. And it's time to go a little bit global here. And we can't have a reefer reporter without Mexico.
Got to report on Mexico.
Got to be in the news. Mexico's got to be in the news. And of course, they were in the news once again 10 hours ago through BBC News reporting Mexico marijuana. Lower house passes recreational cannabis bill. So the rec bill is going forward.
That's really exciting news, not just for Mexico, but for the globe. I mean, it's as more of us move forward, we're coming together. It's gorgeous. Mexico's lower house has approved a bill that would legalize the recreational use of cannabis. It will now go to the Senate for a final vote. One more step in which the president's party is confident it will pass.
They're confident. One more step. One more step. How long have I been? 3 years. Oh, we just got a little bit further to go here. 5 more minutes, I promise.
It's almost as exciting as the eve of legalization here in Canada. I mean, when we were all waiting for it, when we all knew it was coming. I mean, even though it's not perfect and not exactly what we would want, I mean, it happened. And I'm feeling that excitement as Mexico is going. And I've only been following them for 2 months. So I'm feeling this excitement for Mexico. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, of course, they've struggled down there with a bloody war against the powerful drug cartels and violence that are killing thousands. So, lawmakers did vote in favor of the bill by 316 votes to 129. And it's already approved in the Senate in November. But another vote is needed following some actions by alterations by the lower house. So they made a few minor changes in the lower house, and now it has to be re-ratified, and then rec will be on the table in Mexico.
It's really exciting because, Mexicans are now going to be able to go, like, I mean, they were able to carry up to 5 grams. Now they can carry up to 28 grams, and they can all grow now. Like, once this passes, they can all have 8 plants per household. 8.
8, double us.
Yeah.
Doubled
Yeah,
up
so
on what we get. And the growing season down there. Oh.
yeah, exactly. So, like, I mean, 8 plants per household, they're going to have tons.
Trees.
Yeah, it's going to be
Trees.
fantastic.
My house would have trees around my house.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see the pictures that come out of Mexico in the following grow season.
Yes, absolutely. It also allows for other licenses for cultivation, transformation, research, export, or import of cannabis, according to Reuters. Mr. Lopez Obrador has argued that the bill could help tackle the country's powerful drug cartels. One lawmaker from his Morena party told AFP News agency that the law would help achieve peace.
Absolutely. If you take the power away from them, give it legalization, taking the power away from them, it's only a matter of time. And that is the hope.
That is the hope.
Yeah.
That is the hope. A number of foreign cannabis growing companies from Canada and California are said to be interested into tapping into the market opportunities presented by legalization south of the border. And they're all going to clamor down south now.
Oh, absolutely.
Mexico's the place to be now.
Absolutely. Let's plan a vacation.
Let's plan a vacation for sure. Mexico is taking more steps forward, and it's great to see.
And this is going to be, I said that, but then of course it sparks the thought that, because of certain icons that we have had in the industry in the past years, Mexico is huge on I would like to travel to and smoke a joint in. So once they become legal, their tourism is going to go through the roof, and the revenue from that is going to be insane.
I can see, the Mexican Spannabis going on and stuff like that, because people from North America, especially given, the state of affairs of things today, the shorter travel, the better, right?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can see it winding up a hub.
Yeah, we can hop in a car and end up in Mexico. It's fantastic.
That's right. That's right. Just drive south. I have an RV. We're good to go. Our next story, we're international here, from the Growth Up. This one, wow.
Yeah. Separate shipments. There's a lot of little things in this story that caught my eye, to be honest.
Yeah.
Separate shipments lead to the same result. Irish authorities intercept cannabis from the U.S., Canada, Spain, and the U.K. And they end up seizing cannabis worth over $213,000 in just a few days.
Just a few days. And there's a cute little dog there with his customs.
You little brat.
Yeah,
we're gonna teach you to not
brat.
smell cannabis.
Yeah, you little brat. You're a cutie pie, but you're sniffing out the weed, man. I don't know if I like that. Yeah, for sure. Cute little dog there for sure. Irish revenue officials have once again intercepted packages containing cannabis from the US, Canada, and the UK, and Spain as well, thanks to Bailey. The 2 drug detecting dogs whose sole mission it is to sniff out contraband. Bailey, you're a cute little shit, but oh
Actually,
my
there
God.
are two. There are two, and they're both named Bailey.
They're both named Bailey. Well, the one showing is cute. I had 2 dogs named Bailey. I mean, that's just silly. In all packages received, both at the Dublin and the Athlone mail centers contained about 141,000 euros, just shy of $213,000 in illicit weed, they say.
Crazy. Yeah. So arriving at the Dublin Mail Centre, there was a package that was declared art supplies and coffee pods, action figures, and toys. And it was destined for different addresses across the country. Specifically, the packages were intercepted here in Dublin on March 3rd, and they contained more than 4 kilos of cannabis, 27 grams of cannabis oil or honey oil. Combined, the weed and products had an estimate value of almost 88,200 euros, which is just over $133,000. And that was by Bailey number 1.
And just 2 days earlier at the Athlone Mail Center, revenue officers seized almost 7 kilograms of illegal drugs and psychoactive substances as well. This time, the contraband originated from the UK and was declared as hair bows, football memorabilia, and photos. the hulled weed, cannabis resin, hash cakes, benzodiazepines, and apparently increasingly popular cannabis-infused jellies and chocolates. It was estimated to be worth about 53,500 euros, or $80,000, $785,000. And there's a nice picture there of a pretty substantial haul.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2 detector dogs, each of them named Bailey, had a paw in alerting the shipments to their human counterparts. Bailey. And Bailey.
Bailey and Bailey. Yeah, Bailey and Bailey. I drank back in the day Baileys and Baileys when I didn't want Baileys and milk. I'd have Baileys and Baileys. So yeah, Bailey. Oh, good gosh, Bailey. Detective dogs. I mean, these are great things, but why are we still sniffing out cannabis? Here in North America, we had to retrain or retire a lot of our drug sniffing dogs that were trained to sniff out cannabis when legalization came into effect here. Because even if they found something else, if there was cannabis on scene, the something else could be tossed out because you could say they smelled the cannabis, which was now a legal product. So, I mean, maybe it's time in Ireland, they look at retraining or getting some new dogs and letting Bailey go into retirement and happily sniff cannabis in a grow up somewhere.
Absolutely. Listen, that dog is really cute. So if Bailey needs to retire, I got a great home here in Nova Scotia.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll teach you to sniff out the cannabis, certain strains of cannabis in the grow up there, Bailey. We'll redirect your focus. You know, there's a lot of this. Revenue has publicly announced that a number of mail center related seizures involving cannabis over the past few weeks has increased. So in January, for example, 6 packages deceptively labeled as things like sweaters, games, and women's coat could not hide from Dublin. So, I mean, there's been a lot that has been going on this year, and apparently there's an increase at the mail centers of stuff coming through Ireland.
Well, yeah, which I mean, the increase doesn't shock me at all. As the global view of cannabis is relaxed, we're going to see more and more and more of it being shipped. And until they retire or retrain these puppies, this is going to happen a lot.
Yeah. So they're trying to block them at all sides. You know, hitting them up at different set places besides mail centers, of course. So, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully, Irish law will start to evolve and start to change, and it won't be a needed thing anymore in the near future. We got our final story of the day. We're going to deviate from the cannabis scene just a little bit here, and talk a little bit about microdosing and psychedelics and the psychedelic front. Now, of course, this topic is near and dear to both of our hearts, thanks to our sister show that we do here on the network called Open Your Eye, which is shining a spotlight on psychedelics as a medicine. So whenever I see an article in mainstream news, I try to pull it in here on the Reefer Reporters as well.
Absolutely. And this one comes to us from the Green Entrepreneur. And it's simply stated what you should know about microdosing for anxiety. And it comes with a lot of great information.
It sure does. The lowdown on microdosing LSD, psilocybin, and DMT to ease anxiety. Now, of course, you and I have our focus currently on mushrooms, psilocybin therapy, but that is not the only psychedelic that does have medicinal properties for sure. It's a great little article by Anna Wilcox, and it originally appeared on Double Blind magazine. It's about Silicon tech workers didn't invent microdosing, but they may be responsible for turning it into a trend, according to the article.
Yeah, the practice is often touted as a biohack for creativity, inspiring new ways to pump out code, design interfaces, or harness the entrepreneurial spirit. And we all know that, I mean, cannabis does the same thing for us. But microdosing psychedelics may have real benefits that go beyond the reflective walls.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A microdose, of course, is a dosage of a psychoactive substance that is too low to produce a noticeable intoxicating effect. Now, please read that again, okay? It's too low to produce a noticeable intoxicating effect. You do not get high on a microdose. Psilocybin mushrooms, LSD, and cannabis are the three most commonly microdosed substances. And I mean, of course, cannabis is in there. Anecdotally, the reasons why consumers microdose are many. Anxiety, creativity, depression all make the list. But I think for us, the biggest one is PTSD.
Absolutely. And PTSD, I mean, it does incorporate the anxiety, you know, and
all
depression.
Of the above.
You know, and so much more, unfortunately, it becomes a physical thing. You know, personally, I suffer from PTSD, and I have found that microdosing in the past 2 years has made like a huge difference in how it affects me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. People around me, since I've been microdosing for, you know, just under 18 months now, people around me notice the difference. Much less stress, less high anxiety. I've still got my energy, but it's no longer translated into anxiety energy. So, you know, microdosing for anxiety, it does work. And every once in a while, researchers are given express permission to move forward with psychedelic studies. And this is happening more and more these days. Fortunately, the rising popularity of microdosing is spurring a push for real scientific research on the topic. 5 years ago, there were virtually no studies on microdosing psychedelics, yet in the same time since, academic journals have published nearly 400 papers on the topic.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's fun to watch it grow. Quality research is still in short supply, though. You know, what the medical field would consider quality research. So when it comes to exploring the effects of microdosing for anxiety or other mental health conditions, you know, in some studies, anxiety was actually listed as a side effect for microdosing psychedelics. And that's been a question of mine personally for a while. Why do I cry sometimes? But it's not really anxiety. So there is some general discomfort. It can mean, you know, an upset stomach that some people have reported. Yet these are also common side effects to full dose psychedelics as well. So
and they are also side effects to pharmaceuticals.
Oh, the side effects to the pharmaceuticals are way worse. I've done, yeah. So there are some glimmers of hope, however. Several reviews suggest that microdosing psychedelics may, in some instances, improve mood, enhance focus, and perhaps foster creativity. These reviews are largely based on anecdotal reports from people who have already microdosed psychedelics. So it's coming a lot from the grassroots advocates.
Yeah, like us.
Yeah, like us, exactly. So we do have some places that are Section 56s have been being handed out to places to run experiments and take a look at it for medical purposes, which is really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the article goes on. I highly encourage everybody to take a look at this. Currently, no scientists have studied the spiritual implications of microdosing, nor have they studied whether or not consistent microdosing can encourage spiritual openness that is similar to that to be achieved with the full dose of the psychedelic assisted therapy. So we're still got a long way to go with research on that. For most consumers, microdosing psychedelics does not mean taking a small dose every day. We learned this as well through discussions with Mark Howard and with Dana Larson. Preclinical animal trial interviews with regular microdose suggest microdose is often intermittent. So, a couple of times a week. So where you're taking a pharmaceutical pill every single day, this is something you can do twice a week. And then, after a few months, you can take a full month off and then go back to it. So far more beneficial in the long run than taking something on a daily basis and getting better results.
Yeah, and the article goes on and it explains a little bit about microdosing LSD for anxiety, and then it continues on with microdosing psilocybin for anxiety, and tells you a little bit. From psilocybin, a full dose psilocybin-assisted psychotherapy was successful in treating depression and anxiety caused by life-threatening illnesses, which is huge. It's a landmark study by Roland Griffiths. And he studied the psilocybin-assisted psychotherapy. And he found improvements that held up to 12 months after treatment.
Yeah. I mean, we've even I've got a personal friend who uses microdosing psilocybin for pain control, suffering from MS. And it's working for pain control, and as well as keeping the anxiety and the depression from her debilitating illness at bay at the same time. But it does provide her with pain control as well. Of course, I'm talking about the wonderful Allison Mearden, who used to be a part of our network here at Pace Radio Network, a past joint host, and she has her Section 56 to use psilocybin therapy. So, I mean, we go out further into the article, and it talks about microdosing DMT for anxiety. A lot of people hear these terms, psilocybin, DMT, LSD, and the backs go up and the radar goes off. And it's like, oh, that's the bad drugs. And it's like, no, it's not. We have to start understanding and realizing that these elements also were demonized with the same rigor as we've seen through Reefer Madness.
Yeah, Reefer Madness is not just about reefer. It is, from what I'm learning, it is non-pharmaceutical madness.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. It extends to so much more than just cannabis. That's for sure. And cannabis was, of course, in that list for microdosing. And all of it is plant-based medicine, and it all really does tie together.
Absolutely. It works together. And with plant-based medicine, you don't need and I've learned via cannabis, you don't need to change the way you take it. Cannabis walks into your body and it knows where it needs to go. And that's the same with any plant medicine. You take it, it knows what it needs to do. It goes to the parts of your body or your psyche that need help, and it helps.
Yep, exactly. Well, that was our final story for the day. We made it through a day here on the Reefer Reporters live on StreamYard. We did it, Cindy. Now all I've got to do is try and get the closing to play.
Well, we made it this far. And so, now keep our fingers crossed for the rest of it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that was our Reefer report for today, Thursday, March the 11th in 2021 from the Legacy420.com news desk. And in closing, we'd like to say thank you for listening to our cannabis news broadcast. If you enjoyed it, please share it with those you love and even those you don't. And we will catch you next week here on StreamYard once again, and hopefully be getting things working a little bit better each and every week that we get this off the ground. We'll see y'all then. Take care and have a great weekend, everybody. We'll bark at you later.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
At Legacy 420, we believe in being different.
Experience the difference of quality control.
Our labs provide tested formulations for all of our products.
Experience the difference in trust.
Our customers can trust that we are following up-to-date COVID precautions for their safety.
Experience the difference in accessibility.
We're open 7 days a week. Please visit our website, legacy420.com, or contact us for curbside pickup as well as nationwide mail order shipping.
Legacy 420 values overall wellness.
Come and experience the difference of Legacy 420.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
CP operates a medicinal cannabis signing clinic. If you want to grow your own medicinal cannabis and are located anywhere in Canada, then I'd like to suggest that you give them a call. They can be reached at 1-613-967-9888. That's 1-613-967-9888, and grow on with CP.
Growing your own vegetables, flowers, or even medicinal plants can be a challenge without the right equipment and proper know-how. At BMA Hydroponics, not only are they your urban horticultural experts and suppliers, but their staff holds the customer's needs paramount to making a sale. Family owned with decades of experience and knowledge, they offer free advice in person, by phone, or email. BMA Hydroponics wants to ensure you have the advice you need, which is why you'll find tips and tricks on different ways to grow, like wick, ebb and flow, drip, or aeroponics system, as well as other helpful links at bmahydroponics.com. If you can't find what you're looking for, just let them know, and they'll do everything they can to get what you're looking for. At BMA Hydroponics, each staff member also possesses a federal exemptee MMAR license, making their strong suit empathy, experience, and dedication to their customers. Because when you know how to grow, you'll have results that make you proud. BMA Hydroponics in Belleville, Ontario. Visit bmahydroponics.com.
A doctor's job is to relieve your pains. And when it comes to growing cannabis, the biggest pain is trimming. Let Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions take the pain away. Whether you're a home grower or commercial operation, we have the cure. From 4 plants to 400 plants, garden size doesn't matter. Dr. Buck Cannabis Trimming Solutions comes to you with years of experience and professional discreet service. It's simple. We trim your weed and we do a damn good job. Visit drbuckcts.com to book your trimming.
Do you want to hear what patients and cannabis advocates have to say? If so, then catch the Pace Radio Show Wednesday nights here on paceradio.net.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.